So, all right. So, Ryan, I'm really excited. I've been actually wanting to talk in front of Upper Room for a while now, like even before. So I came to Upper Room back we was in City Kids room, back in the old City Kids room, and then went off to school and came back, been trying to get plugged in more and more. But tonight, Ryan texted me about 3 weeks ago, I guess it was, 2 or 3 weeks ago. He was like, "Hey, do you wanna speak at Upper Room?" And I was like, "Well, heck yeah, I want to speak, like of course." And immediately, as soon as I texted Ryan back, and it's like, "Well, what am I going to speak on?" So I really wasn't sure. I had a couple different things that I could go with. That I was like, I know I could speak on this and it'd be fine, or I know I could speak on this. But last week I kind of I was praying, what should I speak on? And this passage of scripture has been stuck in my mind for like, I don't know, we're probably going on like a month now. That I keep going back to it. Every time I think of something, I keep going back to scripture. And the other thing is that what was last week that we had going on, especially on social media, is a big deal that we was talking about, and that was suicide awareness. And this passage I feel like relates to that so well. And it really, it's the correlation is honestly kind of creepy in my opinion. But tonight I'm not wanting to how do I word this? I don't want to sit here and stand up here and tell you, well, this is how you fix this problem, or this is how you get through depression, or this is how you. Tonight, I honestly, I just want to bring one simple truth that Scripture lays out in front of us. And I'm not saying it's going to solve all your problems, because that would be unjust on my part. I just want to bring this one simple word that God has given us and elaborate on it, and hopefully it can impact and touch, even if it just impacts and touches one person's life, it's all worth it. And so, but before I get started in this, I want to go to the Lord in prayer. And I had a speaker, I heard him a few weeks ago, and he done this, and I want to take about 20 seconds before we ever start, and I want y'all to pray. I want you to pray for yourself in this moment, that God will open your ears, He'll open your eyes, and He'll open your heart so that you can receive His word. Because nothing I say is not going to mean anything. I just want it to be all God that's speaking. And so for about the next 20 seconds, I want to go to the Lord in prayer. I want everyone to go to the Lord in prayer, and then I'll kind of break this out. So. Lord, I thank you for this day. I thank you for, first of all, for just allowing us to meet here and have the freedoms to meet here, Lord. But Lord, my prayer is that your words will be spoken and only your words will be received. And God, that you will touch our hearts and touch our lives, not only for today, but for the days to come. Lord, I love you. I praise you. I ask that you will come into this place at this moment. The Holy Spirit will fill this room. And that only you will be sought after for the next little while. Lord, I love you, I praise you, and I thank you. In Jesus' name, amen. And so, I'm going to be reading, I think Trey's going to put up on the screen, we're going to be in Ecclesiastes chapter 2. All the way back in the Old Testament. It's great. It's honestly one of my favorite books in the entire Bible. I know, honestly, I'm not going to lie to you, never read Ecclesiastes till about 3 months ago. So, went back and I fell in love with the scripture. So, big thing, I want to go back and give a little context to Ecclesiastes, because context is key with scripture. And so Ecclesiastes was is believed to be written by King Solomon. What do we got any Bible scholars in the room? What's important about King Solomon? What makes him different? What's up? Yes. King Solomon. God had gave King Solomon. You would say he's the wisest man probably to ever live, past, present, and future during his time. And also because of that, he is the richest man to probably ever live in his past and present. And you would say, by scale, even today, he could be considered the richest man to ever live because of that wisdom that God gave. And so I want to read Ecclesiastes. I'm going to start at verse 1 of chapter 2 and go from there. And so Verse 1 says, I said to myself, go ahead, I will test you with pleasure, enjoy what is good, but it turned out to be futile. And so right here, Solomon, he's basically talking to himself right now in Crete. He's just sitting here, and he's saying, I will test myself with pleasure. He's saying, I want to see what is pleasurable. You know, put God on the back burner, we're going to see what is pleasurable myself. Verse 2, it says, I said about laughter, it is madness, and about pleasure, what does this accomplish? I explored with my mind the pool of wine on my body. My mind still guided me with wisdom. So he is drinking wine. You could say at this point he's not drunk because he's not losing his mind, he's not losing his judgment, but you could probably say he's feeling pretty good, if you know what I mean. And so, that's basically what the scripture says. So, going on from there, it says, my mind is still guiding me with wisdom, and how to grasp folly. So, how to grasp the lack of good sense, how to grasp not having wisdom. Until I could see what is good for people to do under heaven during the few days of their lives. So Solomon right here, what he's doing, he's going through and he's saying that I want to find out what's good. We're going to put God over here. I want to see what's good and pleasurable, and I'm going to drink a little wine, feel a little good, so that way I can kind of loosen up a little bit. And he goes through and gives in verse, I wrote in my Bible, 4. Verse 4, and he kind of goes through from there. He goes through a list of things that he done. And so catch the I don't know, is I a pronoun? I don't even know. It's not good. It's I a pronoun? All right, so catch all the pronouns that's listed here. Follow me. Not good in English. So it says, I increased my achievements. I built houses and planted vineyards for myself. I made gardens and parks for myself and planted every kind of fruit tree in them. I constructed reservoirs for myself, which to irrigate a grove of flourishing trees. I acquired male and female servants and had slaves who were born in my house. I also owned livestock, large herds and flocks, more than all who were before me in Jerusalem. I also amassed silver and gold wealth for myself and the treasure of the king's provinces. I gathered male and female singers for myself and many concubines of the lot of men. So I became great and surpassed all who were before me in Jerusalem. My wisdom also remained with me. All that my eyes desired, I did not deny them. I did not refuse myself any pleasure, for I took pleasure in all my struggles. This was my reward for all my struggles. When I considered all that I had accomplished and what I had labored to achieve, I found everything to be futile in the pursuit of the wind. There was nothing to be gained under the sun. So you see how many times he goes through here and he says, I did this, I did this. I had slaves, I had the vineyards, the houses, the wealth. And at the end, what he does is go through and says, every bit of this was futile. Every bit of this was worthless, is basically what he's saying. And so tonight, my main point that I want to get across to everyone here tonight, and it says, and it is, don't get caught up chasing temporary pleasures and happinesses and miss out on the eternal joy. And so what he's doing over here is he's trying to fill this void in his life with everything that he can really imaginably do, anything he wanted. If he wanted to do anything, he could because he had the wealth and the knowledge to do it. And so, but he's trying to fill this void and he never could. He never at one time, and I love how he ended it. He said, I found everything to be futile in pursuit of the wind. You try to pursue the wind, it's not possible. You know, go outside, take you a cup, and try to catch just one particle of wind that's going away. Good luck, because you're not going to do it because you can't see it. And so, and it says, there was nothing to be gained under the sun. And this kind of relates, I know this relates for me, especially right now. I graduated school, I've got a job, I'm kind of, still living at home, which is great. Encourage it to anybody that's living at home as possible. But at the same time, nothing I ever obtained or nothing I ever buy will ever satisfy me. And for a man who has everything in this world, he's never satisfied. And Solomon, he was trying to please himself, but always came up short. And so my main point is that there's a big difference in finding happiness and pleasure and finding joy. Because the happiness and pleasure is this over here, that it's like a roller coaster. You go around, you get mad one day, and then we're going to come back up, we're going to be happy the next day. We're going to get mad. I know there's some sports fans in here and some Auburn fans in here. Y'all have experienced more highs and lows than anybody. Think about the Final Four championship game. Missed the shot. Auburn thinks they win. Lo and behold, they didn't. Sorry. But it was one of them where you experienced this super high and you were so happy, and then in a matter of a second, all that happiness was gone. Every bit of it. And so that's the difference with emotions and happiness and joy, is where happiness does this right here, joy does this right here. Joy is found in God. God, where God is steady, He's going to be going this way, and He's never going to leave you. He's never going to forsake you. He tells us that. But the one thing that can kind of be misled that is that just because you have that joy, it doesn't mean you're going to be happy all the time. Because happiness is a byproduct of joy. Happiness is found in joy. You read the definition of joy, and it talks about happiness in the definition of it. And so times, life's going to get hard. Life's going to get real hard and real quick. I can tell you from experiences, when you live your life and you're walking, and you're like, everything's great, I'm happy, and all of a sudden the devil comes through, or somebody comes through and kicks your legs out from under you, where your family falls apart, or your house burns down, or you lose your wallet, you lose your phone, or you get persecuted, or you get even to the fact of like a martyr for the faith. At that point, you think there's a lot of happiness right there when you're down here at the very bottom, when you're being persecuted for your faith. You think there's a lot of happiness in that? You think Stephen was like, man, yep, stone me, I'm ready for it. Hit me with that rock, I'm happy and I'm ready for it. I guarantee you, Stephen was either probably scared to death, but he was probably at peace. That's the big difference. Where Stephen over here is probably scared out of his wits. You look at Jesus on the cross. He said, "In this cup pass over me," where, it tells you right there, yes, he was not looking forward to this experience of being crucified. But he said, if it's the Father's will, let it be done.
That's right.
And so, the only place that this joy comes from is from the Lord. It is. And it only comes through a relationship with Jesus Christ. And this joy is something that is going to be there with you always, even in the valleys, even in the mountaintops. I know I talked to Ryan earlier, telling my song, the Highlands and the Heartache. I love that song, because what it's talking about when you're up here, you're going to worship God, but even when you're down here, you're going to worship Him too. And I want to end this with this note, that even when life's hard and you feel like you're struggling, feel like there's no way out where you're at, you feel like you're at the complete bottom of the bottom and there's no way you can dig yourself up top, know that joy was everlasting and will always be with you. But also know that this group of people in this room is here for you. Everyone in this room, that if you're struggling with depression, suicide, anxiety, stress, someone is in this room that can help you. Someone is in here that has probably had very similar circumstances to the circumstances you've had. And you say, well, no shot that person has the same circumstances as me. I can speak from experience that my family absolutely imploded back when I was about a freshman in high school. And I was thinking, you know what? The way it happened, there's nobody in this world that could ever have the same story as me. Until I went to Decatur and I talked to an 11th grade boy, and his family is going through the exact same thing that my family went through that day. You tell me that's not from God, that I was there at the exact moment when his family was actually imploding himself. And so know that people are in here and people love you and people want to be with you. And people will come alongside you and help you through this time. Help you get back up to where you are pursuing the Lord in confidence and loving in Him. And also the last thing that I want to get across is what I said is don't get caught up chasing pleasure. Don't get caught up trying to chase happiness, but get caught up trying to chase the Lord. When you chase the Lord, that joy will come. And you can't explain that joy until you've experienced it. But once you can, you know it's satisfying. Where all this other things was not satisfying anymore, the joy of the Lord is satisfying. And so I'm going to pray, and we're going to go into a time of worship. And if anybody's struggling, find somebody to talk to, for real. Like, this room is full of people. I know Colby, Josh, Jill, Alex. I know there's people all in this room who would love to talk to you. And they're all around here and would love nothing more than to help you. any circumstance you're going through, or anything, any problems you're dealing with, or any doubts that you have, they would love to help you. And so I want to pray, and we're going to play some music and worship for a little bit. So, Lord, thank you for this day. I thank you for your love and your mercy. Lord, I pray that you will be what we sought after, and you will be what we search for. Lord, that we'll not look for the happiness of the world. We won't look for the pleasure. We won't try to find it in somebody or something. Lord, that we'll find our happiness and our pleasure, but more importantly, our joy in you. Lord, you are good. You are a just God. And we thank you for all that you've done. And as we go into this time of worship, I pray, Lord, that the Holy Spirit will come into this room, come into our lives, so that we can experience you in the fullness and be equipped then to go out and tell and make more disciples